thank you for a nice introduction. I'm very happy to be here. That this is true that actually I'm lucky that I actually deal with teaching and I teach, right? So I deal in my research with teaching, in higher education, teaching and learning, and professional development. So I work in the Department of Education and Personal Development, and also in the Professional Competence Development Unit at our university. That is to support academics in the teaching role. All my degrees are in education, so I'm very happy that actually I can develop my skills here at Poznań University of Economics and Business. I also run the program for doctoral students and help them to get into the teaching role. So I'm also happy that I can join today's meeting. And as Katarzyna said, it will be more like a training than a lecture, because I believe that we learn better when we are more interactive. The shift from teaching and learning is something which is repeated all the time in all these theories and handbooks and research in teaching and in higher education teaching. That we should be actually moving from knowledge transfer towards students' learning support, and just trying to not to deliver the content, but organize a learning environment for students and invent some learning activities. So this is the most important. And the paradigm or the theory which stands behind is a constructivism based on Piaget, Vygotsky, and Brunner theories. Just to avoid such something like we pretend that we are teaching and students actually pretend that they are learning, right? So I think that we experience this in face-to-face teaching as well, but now in online environment, it's more, it's actually more visible. And when you look at these assumptions of constructivism, it says that learning takes place when new information is built into and added onto individuals' current structure of knowledge, understanding, and skills. So it means that we have to somehow refer to the pre-knowledge of students, to what they already know, and base on their knowledge, on their experience, on their skills, on their understanding. And actually, learners should be able to construct their own knowledge in an active way. So it's not delivering the content, but more like designing some activities through and then students are getting some problems to solve, and they during these activities they are able to construct their knowledge, rebuild their knowledge in an active way. Of course, learning takes place when it involves the use of variety resources. So we should be more like giving resources to students and make them working with these resources, then once again delivering some content. What is important that students should work with authentic tasks which are more meaningful for them. So for example, what you do with these video case studies That's something that probably bring the context like the regular case studies, where there is the story behind, and actually students can feel that this is something which exists in reality. This is in a business environment. That's something which is not completely abstract. What is also important that we should be able to make them reflective, right? Reflect on what they are learning, and just give them time to think over. The next thing, which is very obvious, this is a collaborative work, collaborative learning. That's why we should, as often as it possible, divide students into teams and just make them working in smaller groups, which is good because the anonymous, the feeling of anonymous is decreasing, and they can be more open, and maybe they will be more encouraged to switch the cameras on when there are less students in teams, and sometimes where there is no teacher. And but also when the teacher enters the breakout room, it's easier to build the relation with the smaller group and with individual students than with 200 students in one lecture. This is the theory community of inquiry that says that actually we should take care of three different presence. The first one is the social presence, that learners feel socially and emotionally connected with others in an online environment. The second one is the cognitive presence. So students should be cognitively, intellectually involved and should be able to construct. So it means that we should give them problems to solve instead of information or knowledge that is just given, and there is nothing to discuss. There is nothing to solve. And also the teaching presence. It means that you get it from through designing and facilitation and direction of cognitive and social processes. So the way you design the class influences actually the cognitive presence and helps students with deep learning and meaningful learning. So the knowledge they are constructing is personal and for them is meaningful. So we have to remember that actually, you know, this some of these social aspects, they happened in a face-to-face teaching beside. So they meet in corridors, they meet in coffee shops, they chit chat and they have time together. And here they don't know each other, and actually they are meeting for the class. And I think that we should give them space, they give them room just to build relations and spend time even for chit-chatting. So, and they will be more open to do it when they are working in teams and they are in breakout rooms. And of course, we are giving them a task or the problem to work on, but they also we should give them extra 5-10 minutes because we know that they should chit-chatting, they should talk about other aspects and build relations. And what is important that we should enter as well, the teams, talk to them, maybe arrange time beside classes to talk to each team, and also make the relation closer than what we just just something extra in comparison to what we were doing in face-to-face teaching. How we should be designing the class teaching online. So first of all, student-centered approach. So that's something that student is and his activity is in the center. And we should be thinking about the learning objectives, and we should be thinking what kind of strategies, active strategies and activities that we create or invent will be suitable, will be good for them to achieve the educational goals. So this is what I said at the beginning, the educational contract that helps building, some rules and rules of communication and learning as well in online. Then I would say use active teaching strategies instead of knowledge transfer. So try to work with problem-based strategies, case studies, and just use different tools that helps in this. It might be Linoid, it might be Padlet, a retro tool, Mentimeter, Google Docs. I know there are lots of them, and it's difficult to learn all of them and feel comfortable, but they support this student-centered learning. Flipped classroom, if possible. It means that students, it's actually not possible at our university because everything is just, everything was shifted to online teaching. So as we had 1 hour and a half face-to-face teaching, now it's 1 hour and a half just online teaching. And actually some of work should be done by students before the class. So for example, they can read texts, they can listen to or watch some movies and just to check different resources. We are to prepare them, and then they are coming to the class for 45 minutes, and we are working with problems. We are trying to use this new knowledge and apply the knowledge into solving the problems. So then in that sense, they don't spend hours and hours sitting in the front of the computer. And sometimes I do this, even teaching 1 hour and a half. So I give them resources and they have to work on their own individually or in teams. They can switch the cameras off, right? And then we are meeting for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and we are working with problems. And of course, team-based learning. So trying as often as it's possible, make them working in teams so they can work from each other. So this is the peer tutoring, and use different tools, breakout rooms, Linoid, Padlet, Google Docs. So the activity is different, and they can put the results of their work there. So you can see that they were discussing, and there are some results, right? And so they can show it on a board or in other documents. So the next tip would be the diversity of activities, but remember that students can't be focused all the time, right? So for example, when you deliver the content, it should be something like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you change the activity. So just cut them into pieces and changing the form and the format of what you are delivering or what you are teaching. The next one would be facilitation, group meeting with the teacher, monitoring and supporting. So the teacher's role is changing here, and just your role will be designing these activities and then monitor and facilitate, ask questions, support. Okay. Activities motivating students. So we are responsible as teacher for the designing the environment, but we can't make them learning. So they have to learn, and you should be you shouldn't be worried if they just don't want, right? So that's the goals, and sometimes they just want to get the certificate. They don't want to learn anything, and you can't change it. You are responsible for the designing the class and for creating some activities. But if they don't want to participate in this, you can't do anything about this. But they will be more engaged if you give them the problem to discuss than when you just deliver the content. And the next one would be building social relations with students, creating opportunity for getting to know each other. So this is what we do at the beginning, but also, you know, try to, whenever you are meeting them, for example, every week, just to think over some breakout, ice breakout activities. So they, for example, can be more open, and you can talk to them in more private way, let's say. So you are able then to know them a little bit more. And the instructor is becoming more like the designer and facilitator instead of knowledge transmitter, right? So these are some tips that I would recommend teaching online. Okay, so at the end, just one thing. What are you taking from today's training? One thing.
I think it was mentioned before, but I'm taking that we shouldn't underestimate the need for students to feel socially comfortable with each other and also for with the lecturer. So I think in one of our earlier breakout groups, a colleague said, oh, well, in my first lecture or my first session, I dedicated entirely towards students getting to know each other. And I hadn't thought of doing that before, but I think that might be a good investment in making students feel less self-conscious later on by speaking up, because they might know more people. So that's my takeaway.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
My thoughts exactly. This was the very same thing that Judge just mentioned. That was the very first thing that came to my mind as well.
I would say what you said about for lecturers' role. Don't be a transmitter, knowledge transmitter, but more like a facilitator. I think that is crucial, and that is for me. That's today's intake. Thank you.
Thank you.
For me, it was very good that you remind us of this contract that we make at the beginning. I think this is really also something that we can use more and keep the engagement through our semester.
Yeah, exactly. And also students, you know, they feel more like they contributed in this. So they are more responsible for this because they agreed for this and they are giving some ideas. So this is not like we are saying, okay, these are the course requirements and we want this. Okay, agree. But we are just creating this together and negotiating what is possible and what I can accept and what they can accept.
For me, it was the idea that it's not just all about teaching, delivering one way content in one direction, but it's also about providing the resources and then to trying to involve students in their active learning based on using these resources.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's about the same thing I learned, that you have to discuss with them and not just say put on your camera, but discuss with them, why don't you do it? But then you have students, they say, oh, it's not working. Even Monday, I had a small group of four students, and 2 of them were not putting on their microphone. So we were only 4 students and me, and even 2 of them, they said it's not working. And I never know, is it really not working, or do they just
Cheating.
not want to put it on? Mm-hmm. But then, yes, we should ask and talk to them why, and try to engage them. So I learned a lot too. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel.
So they can come prepared. Otherwise, they will still be in their pajamas or something. So
yes.
I actually liked the whole ideas that you provided. Also the tools, because it's never easy to find free of charge tools, right? I mean, because the university, I think somebody wrote on the Canvas support. I think generally support is pretty poor from universities. Even in Leuven, I think it might be worse in other institutions still, but still, they say do this, do that, and we all have to jump through the hoop without asking questions. But given that you have these tools which you can use, which otherwise are not expensive, I think that's also something I wrote down. I will try all these tools a little bit to see which one I like best, and hopefully I can insert them into existing platforms, which is not always easy either, but still better than nothing.
Yeah, one by one. I mean, you don't have to use all of them at one moment, right? But I think that some of them are very useful and help to engage students. Great, but if there are some reflections that this is good, I mean, we also want this from students. So just give the opportunity that they can reflect on what they are learning, and also sometimes at the end of the course, it's good as well to ask them how do they feel, what they learn, what was the most important for them, what was the most difficult, and this is also the feedback, and also makes for you feedback, but also makes them reflective on what they actually were learning. Okay, thank you very much for your contribution and for making this training interactive. And thank you for sharing your experience. And I wish you good luck with introducing new ideas and tips, and just have a good time teaching online.